You see, there was something deeper, so much deeper, and I just couldn't figure out. I kept derailing. I was trying to change. I was trying to apply all these tools I'd uncovered to transform myself. But then there was something. I would enter a loop, a pattern. I couldn't figure out what was going on. And so I decided to come out here in Sedona, in the Red Rocks, because I figured I didn't want therapy. I didn't want the traditional. I wanted to go deeper within myself. And I said, why not? And someone had recommended this spiritual counselor. And I said, let me just give it a shot. Let me come out to the Red Rock Canyons, this place where there's all these vortexes, and maybe I'll see something. And oh my gosh, did I unlock some incredible insights into what was happening. And I called this going into the depths, because until then, I was making changes at the surface level. I had all these amazing tools. I made so much progress across what I call the pillars. I was strengthening each of my pillars, but something kept hijacking my decisions. It was like pre-programmed. And so that day when I was there and I met Elizabeth, and she took me to this dimly lit room, and she asked me to sit down and start telling my story. And I told her about, how there was something going on that I couldn't figure out what it was. And that was taking over, and I was trying to decide. And I told her about this pressure I had on my shoulders, about my ambitions, my passions, the things that I wanted to do with my life, but I couldn't. And she pushed and she said, why? Why can't you? And I said, well, I have these obligations. I have a family, I have children, and they rely on me. They rely on my job, my income. And so she dug, she asked questions. What are these passions? What would you do if you could do anything? And I told her about all these parts of my life that, I saw that I could, do something that fired me up, that I would contribute back. And she asked me, she said, but why are you not doing it? And I kept going back to this cycle of responsibility, and she kept pushing, and she would push and said, but what's the risk you're taking? And I said, well, maybe, I won't earn as much. Maybe I will fail. And she said, and will you bounce back somehow with the experience you have? And I said, yeah. With all the experience, I'll find a way to, I'll probably find a way to bounce back. And then she asked, how would the family be? And I said, they'd be fine. They'd adapt. Maybe we earn a little less. And so she said, there's something inside of you. We need to go there and figure out what it is. And suddenly I had this image of my father, of a winter day, and he had no coat. And I was visiting, my parents were divorced, and I came to see him. And I asked him, I said, Dad. And he said, well, there was this homeless guy by the church. And I gave it to him. He needed it more than me. And my dad had this beautiful heart, incredible mind, crazy generosity. But, he taught me, he'll take me to the store and say, let me teach you how to live off of $1 a day. If you get 3 cans of tuna or 6 packs of ramen for $1, that's a good meal. And I remember a part of me was, I never want to be like that. I don't want that insecurity hijacking my life. And so there I was years later. I'd forgotten about this. And I had this fear that I didn't want that, these wounds that were deep inside of me, that I didn't want to do that for my kids, for my family. I needed security at all costs. I needed the big salary and everything. But did I really? And the spiritual counselor, Elizabeth, she asked me, she said, but who's making the decision? Is it you? Whose responsibility is it? And I was like, it's mine. And so why are you blaming others? Why are you saying it's because of this, because of that? It's your decision not to go for it. And do you think you have the right? You deserve it after all these years of hard work and putting in? I said, yes. I said, so give yourself permission. go for it, give it a try. And I realized that this coding inside of me, these wounds from childhood, these beliefs, I didn't see. It was guiding so many decisions in my life. And so I started digging into this, and I realized, and that's why I called it the foundation. When I went to the depths, I went from the surface to deeper, to how the brain works, the two systems of the brain, like Kahneman highlighted, system 1 and system 2. But then what's the data they access? The hard-coded from what you inherited through your DNA, but also what I call the soft data, what you've built through your experiences, your memories, these wounds, and all of this. There's this whole part that's unconscious happening automatically, and it's basically influencing you before you even make a decision. And so I realized the importance of understanding these systems, but understanding the code that your decisions are being made on and that you can rewrite. These memories inside of you that are forged, you can reforge them. There's so much science about, changing the stories and the impact it can have, and changing your beliefs and changing your values. And I realized there's this whole area that I unpack in the 7 pillars, because going from the pillars and the tools and then going inward and uncovering the depths and the foundation, and then you pull it all together, then you can change at a complete different level, at a full aligned surface and deeper level. So if you're interested in these concepts, you can find out more at www.the7pillars.com, and you can find the book there. And I'll keep sharing some of these learnings, these experiences, these tools that help me build a system to truly transform my life. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in a future video.